This is literally just gonna be like a really short talk, I guess. But hi all, welcome. I'm Jolie, and today I'm talking about how being avoidant ruined my life. So just in general terms, being avoidant means that you don't directly address your issues. So for example, a way that being avoidant ruined my life, or a way that I was avoidant in my own life, is whenever I had a problem interpersonally with someone, I would never address it. I would ignore it. I would acknowledge in my brain that there is a problem, but I wouldn't do anything to address it. I would actually do everything but address it. So yeah, that is where I'm kind of coming from. And being avoidant isn't just in personal relationships. Being avoidant actually manifests in so many different ways. It can manifest as procrastination. It can manifest as not addressing when you feel burnt out or tired. It can manifest as avoiding chores. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about how being avoidant ruined my life and in what ways it ruined my life, but then also the biggest thing that I did to kind of revert those damages. Spoiler alert, the biggest thing that I did to revert the damages from being avoidant was addressing my issues. Shocker, but there's a lot more that goes into that. So I guess the number one vein in which I was super avoidant in is interpersonally. So friendships, if I wasn't happy with what was going on in friendships, or if I didn't feel comfortable with someone in a friendship, I would automatically start doing these avoidant behaviors. This, for me, since I kind of had a attachment style that was avoidant anxious, so whenever I sensed discord between me or my friends or my relationships or my family, instead of right then and there saying what the issue is, I would basically try to solve the issue in my own brain without cluing the other person in. One, that there is an issue, and two, about the solution that I was trying to impose. So that looked like if I thought my boyfriend was mad at me, I wouldn't ask him if he was upset with me, or I wouldn't voice how him being mad at me makes me scared. I would just start being a people pleaser. I would start overdoing my communication style. I would try to appease the situation. So yeah, that is the number one way my avoidant behavior manifested, and it ruined my life because there's basically a switch almost with avoidant attachment people. So there's a range of them that is super avoidant, doesn't even want to think about the issue, and then there reaches a certain boiling point almost, where they are boom, into action, being so confrontational, being so aggressive, going from super passive aggressive to immediate aggression. And that was me, unfortunately. And that just manifested in me specifically, the thing that I did that was kind of not good is cutting people completely off. That is something I still deal with the repercussions of to this day, just because I always wonder if I did make the right decision, or if that was just me reacting out of a place of avoidance. But I guess in a sense, the way that I did handle that was me cutting people off so I didn't get hurt, because I wanted to avoid the pain that came with addressing the issue, or the pain of addressing the person, or the pain of realizing that I was actually in pain. It was just easier to be all right, deuces, I'll never talk to you again. And I've done that so many times. And in one sense of the word, it definitely ruined my social life. And another way I kind of did that in my own personal life of being avoidant was putting off the most important tasks and avoiding the stress or the effort that came with actually doing the work. The number one thing that pops into my mind about this, for me at least, was avoiding working. I had a lot of excuses about why I couldn't work, or why I like basically why I had to focus on school and why I couldn't earn an income, and just all of these excuses when it was truly just me avoiding the fact that I didn't want to do more work. I was lazy. That's me avoiding that fact. And these are just my personal examples of being avoidant, but I guess the biggest message I want to get out there is to avoid being avoidant. You don't want to be any sort of type of like anxiously, unhealthily attached to anything. And this attachment style kind of conversation that I'm having with myself is coming from psychology. So just the different types of attachment styles. There's anxious attachment, there's avoidant attachment, there's anxious avoidant attachment, and there's secure attachment. And I believe that we all should be striving for secure attachment. That is like very important. So yeah, I just wanted to share my perspective as someone who still suffers with being avoidant. And now that I am so self-aware, and I have some issues with the idea of being self-aware, because I feel like you really can't ever be fully self-aware. That like defeats the purpose of being a human being almost, because we do have like a subconscious mind, whatever. I basically stopped being avoidant by addressing my issues. It sounds so easy, but it's really not. And the way that I started doing this is doing this with someone who I trusted the most. So with my boyfriend. Instead of shutting down, avoiding confrontation with him, even though I would be upset about something. So for me, that would look like be going silent, going still, not talking, not interacting. Instead of doing that, I would kind of just share my emotions in its raw state. And I don't like normally recommend this, even for myself, just because I'm like very emotional, like very emotionally intense. So like when I'm emotional, it's emotional, like very, very emotional. But yeah, it's just kind of, it's almost like a muscle. Like you built the habit of being avoidant because of consistently dealing with situations and circumstances and people where you don't feel safe enough to basically be open and be secure enough to tell your truth or experience what's going on. And you really have to work that muscle as an avoidant person in practicing saying the truth, saying how you feel, directly addressing something as it comes up versus pushing it away, procrastinating, and just generally not wanting to interact with the thing that is causing you the most stress. So yeah, this was just something that was on my mind very heavily, like the avoidant conversation, just because it is something that is and was hugely detrimental into my life. It caused me to lose a lot of valuable relationships. It led me to lose a lot of valuable time. And yeah, if I could do one thing in this current moment, it is explain why we need to address things head on, even if it isn't comfortable, even if it makes you feel weird, even if it's hard. I think we need to do that work. And this is coming from someone who is highly like, oh, I don't wanna. So yeah, I think you got to deal with your shit head on, like straight up. It's so hard. It is not fun, but yeah. I also want to do more of these little talks just because I always have ideas like this going around in my brain, and it's nice to just get them out. But I also hope that I could connect with other people about these like real life topics and come to this channel in a more vulnerable and authentic way and talk about things that I'm currently learning and currently going through. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you listen to this full thing, and stop being avoidant, period.